Well, ladies and gentlemen, we just had a very interesting development when it comes to Nintendo versus emulators and ROMs and them just being in the courtroom in general. They seem to like it there. It's like every other week we're talking about something else Nintendo is doing to either take down sites or modification tools or all kinds of random stuff. Fan projects, doesn't matter. Nintendo just enjoys sending out cease and desist and DMCA, sure. But this one in particular is certainly getting thrusted into the spotlight because it has to do with one emulator in general. And as we know, typically emulators are fine, right? It's the ROMs distributing those, for example, on websites. Obviously, those are copyrighted materials, and Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft, EA, it doesn't matter. Any of these companies are going to work to eliminate any kind of piracy or any of that, right? But emulators generally are safe. However, yesterday, news broke that Nintendo has actually moved to strike Dolphin, which is a really cool emulator that works to emulate GameCube and Wii games. And the reasoning is interesting and, to be honest, a bit alarming. So if you guys enjoy this video, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe if you're new here to the Spawn Wave channel. First of all, let's head over here. This is posted up by PC Gamer, and then it started to make the rounds very, very quickly. Nintendo sends Valve DMCA notice to block Steam release of Wii emulator Dolphin. If you're unaware, Dolphin, it was announced at the end of March that it would be going to Steam. So it would just be distributed there. If you have a Steam Deck, you don't even have to go over to the Windows side or outside of even the standard like dashboard that they have set up for you. You would just go into Steam, pick it, it'll install, and it's all set up. It's good to go, right? So in a sense, it would just be an easier way to distribute it necessarily to people who don't want to download emulators, try to figure out all the settings and that sort of thing, I guess. But it would have been a way to get Dolphin in front of a bunch of different people. And from what I've seen, they didn't use anything with Nintendo in terms of the description, and they were kind of in a roundabout way describing what the program does. I think they used terms like, instead of saying Wii, it was a revolutionary system, that sort of thing, right? So they were pretty careful across the board when it came to this. So you might be wondering, why exactly did Nintendo strike this emulator and block it from going to Steam? Well, this was an illegal notice that, as mentioned here, reviewed by PC Gamer, is addressed to Valve's legal department and was dated May 26th. So yeah, again, this just happened yesterday, saying because the Dolphin emulator violates Nintendo's intellectual property rights, including but not limited to its rights under Digital Millennium Copyright Act, or DMCA's, anti-circumvention and anti-tracking provisions, we provide this notice to you of your obligation to remove the offering of the Dolphin emulator from the Steam store. And I saw this initially and I thought, I don't really know what they would be pointing towards exactly. Initially, I thought, hey, maybe they had some screenshots or something on the store that showed Mario. It's playing Mario Sunshine. That's Nintendo's character. They're going to find anything they can to necessarily stop this from happening or even delay it somewhat. But no, it actually doesn't have to do with screenshots. It apparently has to do with something going on inside the code for Dolphin, which was explained a little further in that notice, saying the Dolphin emulator operates by incorporating these cryptographic keys without Nintendo's authorization and decrypting the ROMs at or immediately before runtime. Thus, use of the Dolphin emulator unlawfully circumvents a technological measure that effectively controls access to a work protected under the Copyright Act. All right, so I had mentioned on Twitter that this definitely looked like Nintendo throwing their legal weight around, right? I mean, do we think that Dolphin will fight back against Nintendo necessarily just to get Dolphin on Steam when it's already fairly popular, right? Like, most people know about Dolphin, know where to go get it and this, right? Is it worth their time and investment? Because trust me, Nintendo would make this very, very expensive. It's probably not. So in that case, they would back off of it. But something else came up here, because you see that they're talking about these cryptographic keys. Well, this is from Luigi Blood, who says that it's true. They checked the Wii common key is in the emulator source code. The thing that's really weird about this to me, okay, so the common key in the source code, yeah, that's something Nintendo I would have some sort of claim to say, hey, that's copyright. That's our code. What are you doing with that? So in that instance, then yeah, I guess they would be able to show up and knock it off of Steam, block it. And is Valve going to stand in the way? No, it's not worth it to Valve to do that. They have a lot going with obviously their marketplace that is like the #1 spot to buy games on PC. One emulator coming along isn't worth it for Valve to do anything about it. And in this case for Dolphin, the thing that I'm a little confused about with this situation, if that is correct, and I mean, I have no reason to doubt Luigi Blood in this case, why are they just now striking this emulator? Because it's been around for a long time. Now Nintendo has decided, oh, we're going to strike this and block it from Steam, because at this time, Dolphin is still up on the GitHub. It's still, you can just go get it right now, even without it going to Steam. So here's my concern about this. It almost feels like, and this is very, very weird to say because it doesn't make a ton of sense. You figure Nintendo would have been very aware of this for how long it's been around. It almost feels like Nintendo just recently went through the source code and found this because they realized it was going to be distributed on Steam, which makes it even more widely available. And now they're like, oh, wow, there is something in there we can hit this emulator for. Does that mean they're going to follow up on this and continue to pursue this emulator until it's completely wiped up? Well, you're not going to wipe it out completely from the internet, but pull it down from GitHub and effectively shut down the team that's been developing Dolphin for years. Because I have to admit, that would be incredibly frustrating considering Dolphin has come a long way and is, like I said, an awesome emulator. There's so many things they've been able to accomplish with the Gamecube, which, as you guys know, is like my favorite system. Being able to see those games with texture packs and 4K and higher frame rates, it's really, really impressive stuff. So it would kind of be a shame that them trying to push it to Steam would have made Nintendo look through the source code for the first time, or at least more seriously looking for something to stop them, and then they can pursue it further. Because the thing that we all know about Nintendo at this time is that, again, they enjoy the courtroom, but they also enjoy making examples out of the courtroom and bringing people there and hitting much harder than they have to in order to maybe make people uninterested in things like emulation for their systems. I guess the only other scenario is Nintendo is unsure if this is something that would actually work out in the courtroom, and they haven't really felt the need to necessarily go after it because it really wasn't doing too much in the mainstream spotlight necessarily. But after what's happened with something like Tears of the Kingdom, which I do kind of feel like has, I don't want to say put Nintendo in a bad mood, I'm sure it did, but kind of made them a bit more over the top and vigilant with a lot of this stuff, especially on the emulation side, with people emulating Tears of the Kingdom all over the place right before the game even came out and stuff. But it almost feels like Nintendo is primed to make more examples to try to cut out a lot of this emulation stuff. And I'm really curious to see what happens over the next couple of days, because while we're into the weekend now, next week, I don't know, is Nintendo going to continue striking and following this thing along, or will it end here and we just won't have Dolphin on Steam? The thing that was pointed out by PC Gamer is because of this DMCA strike, Nintendo would have, a couple of weeks to decide if they are going to sue over this situation. And I guess if they don't, then maybe the Dolphin can start going back, or at least continue plans to go to Steam, in which case it would probably be in Nintendo's mind, hey, we have to sue to stop this completely. But let me know what you guys think about this one down below. Interesting stuff here. I will tell you, I believe MVG, who is very knowledgeable with emulation and the history of it especially, will be doing some sort of video on this, and I would definitely defer to him to see what his thoughts are around all of this. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I'll see you next time.